Mental illness in the churches. You're going to find judgmental, uneducated people wherever you go. Mental illness is a mental diagnosis. People who do not understand what they're looking at and are uneducated in mental illness tend to judge. And I go to church, I'm a Christian, and we should never judge someone else for their mental sanity. You should never tell somebody else that it's their sin that causes that. People shouldn't be doing things like that. God never intended for it to be like that. I don't think God ever wanted people to tell me that it was my sin that caused my mental illness, or that it was that I need to stop taking the medication because that was a sin, or that I shouldn't be on medicine. Those kinds of comments are very dangerous. I have been court ordered to take my meds. I was arrested and taken to the mental hospital. If I stop taking my meds, I go to jail. So it's never a good idea to judge a person's situation or where they're at, especially when it comes to their mental health, when you can't see inside their head. You have no idea what their life has been like. And I encourage anyone with mental illness to make a YouTube video, start teaching people about mental illness, because the people at the churches that say those stupid things to us are uneducated on mental illness, and they're uneducated on it. They don't know what they're looking at. They don't know anything about it. And I think the people that have those problems, if we started teaching them, maybe then they would understand. And I go to church, and it's very hard for me. And when I was younger and I first got mental illness, it was a lot harder for me. One time I went to a church, and I was hallucinating really bad, and the whole church came and started praying over me, and they all thought I was possessed. And it was a lack of education and a judgment on their part of where I am and who I am. And I know everyone can make those kinds of judgments, but I think society needs to be a little more careful, especially with the mental health of a person, to judge. You can't see inside someone's head. You can't see their struggles. You don't know what they're going through and where they've been and where they've come from. Mental illness is not just caused by drug addiction. It can be caused by drug addiction, but drug addiction itself is a mental illness. They're using as part of their disease. That's their symptom. But drug addiction is not the only thing that causes mental illness. Trauma, poisoning, there's all kinds of other things that cause mental illness. Lack of sleep for months on end. There's all kinds of things that cause mental illness. And I think society as a whole, if you have a family member with serious mental illness, if you have serious mental illness, if you even have mental illness, I think we need to take the time to educate one another, because it's the people in the churches who are uneducated and are making an assumption or a judgment that is unfounded. And we should never be judging someone else's mind, because we can't see in that. So you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.